Seth Rollins has gone down in history as one of the all-time greats in WWE history. From his humble beginnings in NXT to being known as the Visionary, Seth Rollins has done everything imaginable that WWE has to offer, including being a six-time world champion, a six-time tag team champion, a two-time US champion, a two-time Intercontinental champion, a Royal Rumble winner, a two-time Money in the Bank winner, and has also won the Royal Rumble as well, which I think I mentioned that as well. He's done everything. And let's also not forget, he is also the first ever NXT champion. Seth Rollins has been a part of WWE for well over a decade, and apparently it is now coming to an end, because Seth Rollins had stated in a recent interview that he doesn't have much time left competing in the wrestling business. He said in a recent interview that with how many injuries he's had throughout his whole career, including two knee surgeries, back injuries that dated all the way back to when he first became world heavyweight champion. He doesn't have much time left, and with his age can also catch up to you. Excuse me. Age can also catch up to you as well. This is extremely heartbreaking for wrestling fans, because Seth Rollins was again, he was the guy. Like, he was arguably one of the biggest stars in WWE when he first... Something is like tickling my nose. When he first started out in WWE around the time of, I think, like 2011, 2012, somewhere around there, when NXT was more of a reality show, if you will, than an actual brand. Seth Rollins was there just for, to try and like do his own thing and whatnot. But once NXT started to actually become an actual brand, Seth Rollins found who Seth Rollins is, and he went on to become the first ever NXT champion in the process. He got called up to the main roster alongside Roman Reigns and, well, you guessed it, Dean Ambrose, as they took down John Cena and Ryback to help CM Punk retain the WWE title. Since then, Seth Rollins has again, as I stated, went on to win his first championship in WWE, that being the WWE Tag Team titles alongside Roman Reigns. He then went on to go after the Money in the Bank briefcase, cashed it in at WrestleMania with the heist of the century. And from that point on, his career just skyrocketed up to the top of the mountain. However, again, as I stated, this is professional wrestling, so you know damn well the injuries can happen at any time. So right around the end of October to like the beginning of November in 2015, Seth Rollins suffered a devastating knee injury that put him on the show for almost a year, which forced him to miss WrestleMania, which was in Dallas, Texas in 2016. He came back, became WWE champion again, and even though he lost the title in just mere minutes, he was still considered to be the odds-on favorite to be the top babyface in WWE, and that is exactly what happened when he was chasing after the Universal Championship, which at the time was held by Kevin Owens. And again, for Seth Rollins, for Seth, the rest is pretty much history, right? Again, 6-time tag team champion alongside guys like Roman Reigns, guys like Dean Ambrose, Jason Jordan, Braun Strowman, Buddy Murphy. Who else can I think those are the only ones. If I remember correctly, those I believe are the only people that he's teamed up with, as there was hair in my wireless earbuds. Yeah, those are the only five that he had teamed up with to become tag team champions with. 2-time WWE champion, 2-time Universal champion, 2-time World Heavyweight champion, 2-time Money in the Bank winner. And this past year, earlier this year at SummerSlam, on night 1, he cashed in Money in the Bank with the ruse of the century, because apparently he had suffered a knee injury at the hands of LA Knight at Saturday night's main event earlier this year in the summer. But it ended up being the ruse of the century, which was by far one of the most historic moments that no one will ever forget. Seth, as I stated earlier, Seth said in a recent interview that he doesn't have much time left because of his age and all of the injuries that he has sustained, including his most recent shoulder injury that he sustained at the hands of Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel. And then, of course, the very next night on Raw, a spear by Braun Breaker to Seth Rollins kicked Rollins out of the Vision, which buys into the question of whether or not Seth Rollins is going to return as a babyface. And honestly, I would love to see that. I think if there was one person that could take the world title off of CM Punk, it would definitely be Braun. It would definitely be Breaker, and then have him defend the title on night 1 of WrestleMania against Seth Rollins. Which honestly, I'm all for that. I am 100% all for that. But as far as how long Seth Rollins has, well, that's the thing. That's the thing. Seth Rollins admitted that guys like John Cena, guys like Goldberg and The Undertaker have all retired in their 40s, their 50s, their 60s, and Seth Rollins is literally in his late 30s, and he's already injury prone. He's already had multiple injuries within the last 10 years. And that's saying a lot, because let's not forget, 10 years ago, he was WWE champion. He was Mr. Money in the Bank. He was the face of WWE, even in spite of the fact that John Cena was the top guy that everybody had to beat in WWE. So with that being said, what got Seth Rollins to go back to the top of the mountain was his first run as World Heavyweight Champion. The fact that he was able to become champion and hold on to the title for 316 days is incredible. But not as incredible as Roman Reigns' run as WWE champion, holding on to it for 1,316 days. Think about that. Think about that. That right there is proof that all of our predictions from 13 years ago was all a fact. We all knew that the Shield was going to dominate WWE with an iron fist, and did they ever? All 3 men are Grand Slam champions. Seth Rollins is the only one that has won the World Heavyweight title. John Moxley, aka Dean Ambrose, I think that's his name. John Moxley, I think that's his name. He's doing his own thing outside of WWE, which is incredible. And Roman Reigns, I mean, he's the OTC. I mean, he does whatever the fuck he damn well pleases. So you can't really deny that all three members of the Shield truly did. They truly made WWE a better place, like 100,000%. And that ties into the question that a lot of fans have been asking for a minute now. And the question is, who will be Seth Rollins' final opponent in WWE? Well, I mentioned with Brock Lesnar, it's all eyes on Gunther. As far as Rollins goes, Seth Rollins has already beaten Gunther before, so there's no point in. I don't think there would be any point in Gunther being Seth Rollins' last opponent. I think it would have to be someone that knows Seth Rollins better than anyone else. And I think it would have to be all eyes on either Cody Rhodes or potentially Roman Reigns. The reason why I say one of those two is because Cody Rhodes has practically considered Seth Rollins an ally, if you will. Yes, they did have a bit of a run-in leading to Crown Jewel. But to be fair, that match, it wasn't a battle of. It wasn't just a battle of Seth Rollins trying to get at least one victory over Cody. It was more of a battle to see who deserves to be the best, who deserves to be the guy in WWE. And honestly, it was all eyes on Seth Rollins. So there's definitely a lot to consider when it comes to that rivalry. There's also a lot to consider when it comes to Seth's rivalry with excuse me with Roman with Reigns. There's definitely a lot to consider, but some of my most favorite moments involving Seth Rollins would probably have to be. It would probably have to be probably the most obvious. Probably the most obvious. The chair shot heard all around the world. Seth Rollins hitting Roman Reigns in the back with the steel chair, and then just attacking the other two, and literally just attacking both members of the Shield, with Seth Rollins turning heel in the craziest way possible. And and what's even more ironic is that no one knows why. No one knows why Seth did what he did. Yeah, he might have said. He said in a promo on Raw. I think it was a number of years ago, that he did it because he wanted to make the Shield stronger. He wanted to make all three members of the Shield a world champion in some form or another. And I guess in a matter of speaking, that prediction, it kind of came to pass. All three men did indeed become former world champions. So there's definitely a lot to consider when it comes to Seth Rollins, as far as what his motives were for that precise moment. So that's definitely one. The ruse of the century from this past year, the heist of the century, which was absolutely insane. The shocking heel turn, heard all over the world. Seth Rollins aligning himself with Paul Heyman, which nobody expected that, which is very funny. So there's definitely a lot to consider. But as far as his last opponent, again, it's all eyes on Roman, all eyes on Cody. I want to say maybe Gunther, but to be honest, Gunther has already defeated a WWE Hall of Famer and a first ballot Hall of Famer. Seth Rollins 100% is going to be in the Hall of Fame someday, but it all depends on when he retires. So it's like how should his retirement tour go compared to John Cena's? And honestly, I really don't think there's a right answer to that question. I really don't. But at the same time, there really isn't a wrong answer either. So it's like you want it to be good, but you also want it to be memorable as well. Kind of like with Cena's John Cena's retirement tour. I found in a recent post on was it IG or was it Facebook? I think it was Facebook. Apparently, Sports Illustrated gave his retirement tour a grade of an F, which I honestly don't know why. That makes no sense at all, considering that John Cena stepped into the ring with some of his biggest rivals out there, including guys like Brock Lesnar, AJ Styles, guys like Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk as well. And the fact that Gunther was John Cena's last opponent was absolutely insane. And if you guys watched Cody's podcast called What Do You Want to Talk About? I actually have it here. Cody did a podcast episode with John Cena literally just yesterday, and they talked about was John Cena's retirement tour, his match with Gunther, their matches at SummerSlam, at WrestleMania, and their encounters on SmackDown, Saturday night's main event, the shocking heel turn. Literally, they talked about was John Cena's retirement tour, and honestly, there is a lot to consider when it comes to Seth Rollins and what was to be expected. You know, what was to be expected of that retirement tour for John Cena. So I don't know if we're going to be getting one for Seth Rollins or what the hell, but I can honestly say that Seth Rollins truly is one of the all-time greats in WWE and definitely deserves a spot in the Hall of Fame. But as far as like who should be his last opponent, I mean, again, there are three guys that's all eyes on: Gunther, Reigns, and Cody. But I want to get your guys' opinion. Let me know down in the comments below your thoughts on this whole ordeal, and who you believe should be Seth Rollins' last opponent in WWE. Let me know down in the comments below, and that'll do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more WWE topic videos in the future, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.